I sent you.
And the Cardinals have stolen the lead. Short right, there's a right uppercut by Dana. Jackson keeps, gets it, and gets by.
To be champions and we deserve this. We rose to the moment and here we are.
Welcome to the Long Distance Playbook. Today is the 11th of April. We got my boy Jeff. He over there in Tampa. We got Jay. Where you at today?
We in Aviano enjoying the great wonders of the Air Force Base here. So I was able to take in some softball games. It's always good to see the competition. So yeah, it was very nice.
All right. So he's not at home this week. So he's going to hang with us. All right. So Chris, unfortunately, can't be with us. This is going to be his busy time of the season with him doing softball and football. So he'll be hit and miss whenever he's available. But we are going to start the show like we always do. We have some honors of the week. The honors of the week start off with the ladies. UCLA Bruins won the women's NCAA basketball championship. Congratulations, ladies. And then we got a men's winner, right? The Michigan Wolverines won the men's NCAA basketball championship. Congratulations to each and all the champions and all the participants that played in March Madness. It was exciting. We're going to cover that later today. All right, on a little bit of sad news, we have Davey Lopez. He is a legendary coach. He coached for the Dodgers. He passed away this week at the young age of 80. We give our condolences out to his friends and his family and his loved ones. Our second, unfortunate, is legendary coach, college football coach, Tom Osborne. He passed away at the age of 89. We also give our condolences to the friends and family of them. Gentlemen, before we move over to the lightning round, let's talk a little bit about Davey Lopes and Tom Osborne, right? What do y'all remember for them?
Well, now I was born when he was, in his heyday. I more remember him as a coach, but from what my father would talk about, my uncles, he was a very, very exciting player. He led the league in steals a couple seasons. He was in the middle of the baseball where the Yankees had Reggie Jackson, and it was East Coast versus West Coast, and it led to a very exciting baseball. And this time they weren't making millions of dollars. They were playing their hearts out every week. There was no load management. It was, I'm gonna come to work. Now they could drink a beer in the dugout. They could smoke on the circle.
And just so our viewers are tracking, he's talking about Davey Lopes.
Right, Davey Lopez.
Yeah, so you got to think about this. I mean, if you're going to pay them like regular people, what do regular people do when they're at work? They got a break. What? They go have a smoke, they're gonna have a drink.
Especially back in those days, right?
Yeah.
So
Nowadays, you don't do that.
well, you could smoke, but you can't drink while you're at work. But I mean,
There you
that's
go.
but up until the 90s, you could go to lunch and have a beer
Mhm.
and not having any issues, and everything was cool. But getting back to David Lopez, that team was going toe to toe with the Yankees, and I mean, you went from the 70s into the 80s. You know, you still had the Pirates, but the Dodgers were still a big deal, and he was a part of that. So when you think of baseball, you think of that era, that time period. You know, they brought it into the 80s where, the Dodgers were still relevant before they got the Steve Garveys and Kirk Gibsons of the world or whatever. But yeah, it's a sad day to think about all those the guys that we grew up hearing about and learning about. And when we play ball, why don't you be more like this guy, Roberto Clemente? Why don't you be more like Dave Parker and Willie Stargell? Well, those guys are in the 80s and 90-year old now, so we don't want to hear about this, but we know we are feeling our age, and we are growing up now, and we're at that age. We're going to see, some sad news from time to time, and it's good for us to talk about these guys and acknowledge their presence and how they changed the game and how they played with such passion.
Absolutely. Jeff, you want to talk about David Lopez, or you got
Yeah,
Tom Osborne, or what you got?
Yeah, well, just touch on Lopez a little bit. I
Okay.
remember mostly coach. I wasn't really into baseball too much when I was younger, but remember always seeing him as a coach. I remember he was one of the first people when I started hearing about the unwritten rule. And that's because Ricky Henderson doing what he does, team was up. They were up. I think he was playing with the Padres at the time. And they were up by, I don't know, 6-7 runs, and he stole second on them. And I remember him being upset about it, talking about the unwritten rules in baseball. And so that's when I was kind of like, what do you mean unwritten rules? Like, why are there unwritten rules in baseball? Okay, got it. Right. Now I understand a little bit more. But I just remember him always as a coach, or as either as a manager or a bench coach. He always seemed to be a stand-up guy, always seemed to be well respected. So that's what I remember about him most. And then Tom Osborne, I just remember those Nebraska. This reminds me of Herman Boone with Remember the Titans. They're talking about this all-in playbook. But look, he ran the triple option. They throw the ball 7 times a game, and they would beat you by 60. I remember the Tommy Frazier. That was one of the best college teams I've ever seen. Tommy Frazier, Nebraska team. You knew a triple option was coming, and you still couldn't stop it. It's either going right or it's going left. You got not only do you have all season, you had all previous season and the season before that, and the season before that to look at the tape and figure out exactly what they were going to do, and you still couldn't stop. So, I mean, that was me, one of those teams in the 80s that you knew you were going to see Nebraska on TV. They were going to be there and about at the end of the season, playing for the national championship.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember those. Ryan Dane, everything with Tom Osborne, legendary coach at the University of Nebraska. You couldn't say nothing bad about him. I mean, he coached, and even though he wasn't a coach of the after his coaching time, right? They still brought him, and he was a mentor of the next coaches that were to come along, so to speak, right? So he was always attached to Nebraska, and then I mean, he even played in the political world for a little bit, So he was well diverse, well vocal, and people listened. With David Lopes, like Jeff, I have to agree. Right, I remember him as a more of a coach, not so much as a player, but uh, but he was very vocal as a coach. David Lopez was right,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and he won. And when I mean, he won the World Series with the Phillies as a coach. So I mean, that's times when people thought the Phillies couldn't win it, but he had them mentally right and everything. So, you can't speak enough great things about those two fine gentlemen. So, Jay, do you have anything else?
So
Go ahead.
football was my thing. I was a Saturday and Sunday type of guy, where the staples when it came to college football in that time period, you had Barry Swister,
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
You had
Yep.
Tom Osborne. They were doing battle.
Yep.
You had Bo Schembechler, Lou Holtz.
Michigan. Notre Dame. Mm-hmm.
They doing battle.
Yeah.
And of course, Joe Paterno in Penn State. You had
Joker.
for how long he coached there. So and you had the 80s. It was like, and then Jimmy Johnson was trying to get a little piece of it for
Mhm.
Miami. So, but he wasn't there as long as these guys were
Yeah.
there.
You
These
forgetting
guys were there were institutes. There were
institutions.
institutions.
Like you forgetting like what's his name? John Robinson at USC.
There you go.
Because that
John
was
Robinson.
another one that was
Yes.
always there and thereabouts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those coaches, when they fall, it's a huge thing because you knew the program, and it didn't matter if their system was outdated. You run with what I tell you to run, and we're gonna win some ball games.
Hey, and I'm gonna do my own selfless plug. Bobby Bowden, Florida State. Let's
Bobby?
not forget
Yeah, no, we can't
Yeah.
get by
one of the greatest. Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
he deserves to be on that list too. And you know, for everything that Nick Saban has done, to me, he won't be looked at as these guys were because he wasn't coaching in that era against those guys during that time period. You understand what I'm saying? It's like you're going against eight, let's just say 6 to 7, like every year, where it's going to be tough. I mean, Alabama had the run,
Yeah.
but tell me 5 or 6 like staple coaches that equal Tom Osborne, Barry Switzer, like their college nucleus.
Nah,
Lou
there's
Holtz.
too much money
No.
now. So if you're
Yeah.
bad at a big school, you're gone.
Well, not just that. I mean, this is more of a later topic, right? But I think instead of Nick Saban coaching against those coaches, he created those coaches because a lot of those coaches are spread throughout in the college football world now and are coaching successful teams. So
Yeah.
it's different conversations, right? Different
Yeah,
eras, like you
that's
said.
true.
So you guys, Nebraska, Miami, that game, Testaverde. Miami versus Nebraska. Oh, that was the game, and Testaverde, and they didn't get it, and Nebraska ended up winning.
Yeah, but is that the game where Testaverde threw like 5 picks?
Yeah.
Like Miami to me was clearly the better team. Testaverde just he was colorblind that night. I mean, yeah.
All right, so we're going to wrap up honors of the week, right?
Yep.
And we're going to move over to the lightning round. Hold on. We've got that, and we've got. There we go. All right. So, first off, for the lightning round this week, we are going to recap the men's and women's basketball championship. March Madness. But before we can start that, we'll touch bases for the men's first, right? And Jeff, I hope Chris is watching, and I'm not sure, but you have to announce it. You ready, Jeff? You ready? Jay won our March Madness bracket.
Oh yeah.
So he is the 2026 long distance playbook in the men's champion. Congratulations, Jay.
Congratulations, Jay.
Thank you very much. I was in fourth place at the bottom, but you know what they say: the cream rises to the top.
Somebody help me.
Yes. You know what?
He got
Jeff,
lucky. He was
Jeff.
look, you were at the bottom the whole way. Like the whole time.
Yes.
Yes.
But
And-
he picked a winning team, so
It goes to show you.
that's the only reason he won.
Well,
So,
and now I'm a Michigan fan, because if I wasn't a Michigan fan, there's no way I picked them.
got it.
Not because the
Right.
thing is, you don't get to change your pick in the middle of the tournament. But at the
Right.
beginning of the tournament,
Yeah.
Arizona was looking better than them. Duke was looking better, and you always have UConn that can turn it on. Michigan they elevated their game. What they did in the first 2 or 3 rounds with those 90-point games and really putting their mark on the tournament, that was special.
They were thumping.
Absolutely.
They
I
really
didn't
were.
see it coming like that.
You know, I wanted to go with Michigan to win. But I didn't like how they played against Duke a couple weeks earlier. And I thought they could have beaten Duke if the big guy didn't get in foul trouble. So for me, I was kind of like, and I had them in the final. I had Duke versus Michigan again at the final.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, what's going to stop that guy from getting in foul trouble again? And Duke found a way for their role players to be the spark for them to beat Michigan.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't see them beating them. And, I knew they're a good team. But hey, hats off to them. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was awesome that the Fab Five were there and had their own little podcast where they were, looking at the game and going over the game. I thought I love seeing the Fab Five together again. So that just really good vibes. And you can see, even after all these years and a lot of stuff that's taking place, they all seem like they're just brothers. Like they pick up exactly where they left off. And I love that. Me being someone who's, lived most of my life in Virginia and I'm in Florida, because when I go home to Virginia, that's how me and my friends are. We pick up like we just saw each other the day before. So I love seeing that from the F5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, so what was y'all's biggest surprise, or what do you think was the biggest surprise in the tournament?
UConn. Has to be UConn.
No.
Well, hold on, Jeff. So Jay, you say UConn, right? In what regards?
The fact that
Making the tournament, not winning the championship. What?
getting to the championship. There's no way.
You think so?
That UConn team, to me, they probably should have been eliminated in the Elite Eight.
No.
Mm-mm.
In my opinion.
So for me, so I'll answer both questions. The first question is, for me, it was Florida. They were the biggest surprise to me getting eliminated when they did. I thought they were a strong team. I wouldn't have been surprised to see them in the finals. UConn, UConn's been a good team all season.
I would say biggest disappointment, yes, Florida.
Well, the biggest shock to me was Florida. When they lost, I was like,
Right.
and didn't Chris pick them to win it all?
You see there.
So, that's how highly rated of a team they were.
Yeah.
So that was my biggest shock of the entire tournament, was that they were gone when they got eliminated. That to me was the biggest shock. But referring to UConn has a great system. So it makes it easier for them to recruit the players that are going to fit in their system well and be able to contribute. I didn't think they'd be able to I didn't think Duke would just blow them out, even though the first half I was like, oh, this game may be done. Not okay, but then every 5 minutes of and I look at every half in 5 minute increments, right? 5 minute increments, and they kept on getting more and more. Like, hey, okay, they took 5 points off that lead. Okay, they took 6 points off that lead. They took another 5 points off that lead, and I'm like, oh. And then to me, that was one of the most rookie basic mistakes, that he tried to throw the ball over a double team, knowing that he's going to get trapped as soon as he catches the ball. All he had to do was hold on the ball and get fouled. Go to the free throw line. That's all he had to do. And he threw it straight into a double team. And talk about ice cold. Ice cold. My man, hey, he said, Steph Curry ain't got nothing on me. Eat this three. And if any of y'all saw the video of Dan Hurley's mom, you can read her lips of what she said. And there's a whole bunch of curse words. She was like, holy bloop, bloop, bloop. I was like, wow. It's hilarious. Look that one up if you haven't seen it.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
So to me, that's a surprise. I mean, it's amazing. That's why we watch these games.
But they were a 2 seed, though.
You don't know when they're going to turn on a dime.
But they were a 2 seed.
Like,
so
for me,
being surprised that they're there.
To me, I separated. Like, you could have the biggest disappointment and the biggest surprise. Meaning, surprise, you won. You've gone to this far. Usually, no one says surprise. We got to cut your leg off. Usually, it doesn't. It's not really associated with disappointments.
A surprise is a surprise either way. Either way you look at it, a surprise is a surprise. It doesn't. Not all surprises are good surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So for me, gentlemen, and y'all can argue, for me, the biggest surprise to me was Texas, right? And it wasn't necessarily that Texas won, so remember, Texas had the play-in game, okay? Mm-hmm. So they got into the bracket. But then Texas wound up playing BYU, number 6 BYU, and beating them by 8 points. Then they played number 3 Gonzaga and beat them by 6 points, right? So then they made it to the Elite 8. So for a Texas team who didn't look solid all season, right? And to get in and make it all the way to the Elite 8 was the biggest surprise to me, right? The biggest disappointment to me, and this is just to me, was Houston. Right? Now, not to take anything away from Illinois, right? Illinois did good all season, but Houston did too. I didn't know it. I thought it would have been a lot closer between Illinois and Houston. And I mean, it wasn't. No. That's the biggest disappointment to me was Houston.
For me,
with that being said, now that Illinois beating Houston like that, now if Illinois would have lost the next game, then I would be more inclined to agree with your point. But we saw how Illinois is this good, and they made it to the Final Four. So them losing to Illinois doesn't look as bad as it did when it happened. But as Illinois, you saw what they're doing, what they're capable of. Okay, now we understand why Houston lost to this team.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
I don't know. If you've watched, so for me, I've watched Houston because I'm a Kelvin Sampson fan. Like, he's done a whole bunch. To me, he's probably a Hall of Fame coach with everything he's done between Oklahoma and Houston and stuff like that. When you look at their team year after year after year, they're top seeded team coming into the tournament, and they play really, really well, but they rely so much on guard play that when their guards miss shots, big teams beat them. And it happens over and over and over again, which is why I picked them to lose to Illinois in the brackets. Because when that jump shot doesn't fall, if you don't have another way to manufacture points, you're going to lose. And so I wasn't really surprised. It's unfortunate because I wanted to see them do well, but I've just seen it. I've seen it year after year after year once to get to the tournament. So, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Like the Wizards. They lost again last night to the surprise of no one. So
What about Arizona? Arizona was cruising. They're cruising.
Arizona's soft.
But they were putting up points against these teams.
Yeah.
And then Michigan, I mean, like I said,
Michigan beat the brakes off them.
For some reason, Michigan just the first couple of rounds, they were just like, man, y'all need to care about your defense.
Well, it's something similar to what Jeff said, right? Arizona also lives with their guards. If their guards are hitting, they can win. Alabama did the same thing. So Alabama was one of the highest scoring teams in the tournament until they lost, right? So you can't. It just goes to show you, right? Michigan was a complete team. They had guard play, they had big man play, right? So you have to have the in and out in order to win, and especially the long term, right?
Yes.
Now guard play may get you a game or two here and there, right?
Yep.
But eventually, if you run into a team that has bigs that can play and has guards, you will lose to that team unless you match up the same way.
Yep, and that's why Arizona, like they had that freshman Koa Pete, he's a big body. I think he's like 6'8", but he's not a high riser, right? When you have legitimate size like Michigan did, and athleticism too, it makes it difficult for them big dudes. I mean, you saw it makes it difficult for big guys to actually play well. But I mean, Michigan rolled over Arizona. They got up early, and I mean, it was like
they were by 30.
Pedal to the floor and kept going. I was like, whoo.
Look, I'll tell you, Michigan did what I love to do as a coach, right? Because I coach basketball. Is don't let up. Don't let up.
Look,
because the moment you let another team even get a slight bit of momentum to get back in the game, you have problems because now you have to get rid of their momentum and build yours back up.
It's remember the Titans, running it up, Herman, leave no doubt. Daggone right. That's exactly how. Look, if you don't want me to score, stop me.
Thank you.
I can't stand when coaches are whining and crying. They're already up by 3 touchdowns. I don't know why they're still throwing the ball. Look, those are the backups in. We're up by 30. Those are the backups. Guess what? They want to play ball too. If you don't want to be embarrassed, stop us.
And you know what? When they play like that, it's really giving you an opportunity to stop them. They're not sitting on the ball and just running the clock out. They're giving you, if they throw the ball, they're giving you opportunity to pick it off.
Go pick it off.
If they're trying to shoot the ball, you can have a turnover. You can lead to a fast. You can go ahead and flip the script and run off 7 or 8 points because they're playing at that pace where they're giving you opportunity to get the ball. Is that making?
I have my second and third string in, and they still running it up on you. Don't look at me. You better go look in the mirror. That's where your problem is.
Yep.
So I'm with you, Mace. Run it up, leave no doubt.
Michigan's team, basketball-wise, reminded me of that Indiana football team, where they just had from every level of their starters were perfect for their system, and they were just dominant.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you can't take anything away from what Michigan accomplished. I mean, they made it. It was an interesting championship game. It's not like they completely blew out UConn, right? I mean, they won by 6. Now, if you watch the game and you hide the score, it would look like Michigan's dominating UConn. Yeah. Okay, but score wise, UConn was hanging. They did. So.
They made it respectable.
Yes.
Like if you watch the game, Michigan, it just seemed like Michigan was always like they were young brother. They like I'm gonna let you. Okay, you can go ahead and get a couple swings in, but I'm gonna keep you right here. You're not really gonna do anything. You're not really causing any damage. That's how it seemed like.
They kept them at arm's length at all times.
Yes.
Like they couldn't sustain a run long enough to get to within. Oh, now it's going to be dangerous. Oh, Michigan just kept on answering. So hats off to them.
And I'm glad they kept it close, right? Because as a fan, when it comes to the championship game, you don't want to blow out, honestly. Now, if you're a fan of that team, you do. You know,
Yeah.
like if you're a Michigan fan, you
did
want to
it
blow
feel
out.
close? Did it feel close?
No, it didn't.
Just watching the game, it didn't feel like I never felt like UConn had an opportunity, like they were really going to ever come back.
No, yeah. But if you're a
So-
UConn fan, right, and you're seeing the score, then you're like, oh, guys,
Maybe.
we got a chance. We got a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You really
Chance to
don't.
hell.
But
it wasn't a blowout, but there was always a if you like you said a UConn fan, like, hey, we came back before. If we don't lose by double digits and keep it at 7, 8, 9, then maybe the ball will bounce our way. We'll hit a couple shots, and we can get a miracle, just like against Duke. We'll figure it out.
yeah. So, all right, are we good with the men's?
Good with the men.
All right.
We are good with the men's.
So we're going to move over to the women's NCAA championship March Madness. And the winner for the long distance playbook women's, me. I won.
There you
I
go,
won.
Mason.
So I was the only one and one of the very, very few in all of I would say ESPN's March Madness bracket to pick UCLA women's to win the entire tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now, I would say this is fortunate. You were fortunate, and I'll tell you why. After
Why?
Yeah, hey, I got a whole reason why too, but I got a bunch.
Go ahead.
Hey, congratulations though, Mason. It was the first time they won it. That's the first time the women's team won a national championship.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. But
I predicted that. I predicted
yes, you did,
South
and I
Carolina
say
making it.
congratulations. But you were greatly helped for the fact that South Carolina shot 29% from the field. Like they couldn't even make layups, and they shot 13% from the 3-point line. Like it was the worst game I've seen South Carolina play in ever. And then if you looked, they got blown out the first quarter. Okay. I felt like they steadied the ship in the second quarter. And then I turned to something else at halftime, and I'm like, I'll turn back in the third. South Carolina, she's probably going to light them up, and they're going to come after them in the third. They got blown out in the third even worse. And I was like, man, ain't no point in watching this. It's 25-9. That's what they got outscored in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
So
that was the worst South Carolina performance I've seen.
okay, me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So all right. UCLA was fortunate that because the brackets, the way they were set up, they only had to beat either South Carolina or UConn. They didn't have to beat both of them. So that played very well into UCLA getting a chance to win a championship, because I don't think they beat both those teams back to back like South Carolina. I think
had to do.
That was their championship game, beating UConn, because UConn had won last year, right?
Right.
So I think some kind of psychological, they were mad at Gino. They put all their efforts to take down that monster UConn.
54 games unbeaten. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, you do that. You think you're feeling kind of good about yourself. You come out flat against the other team. UCLA, they smell the blood in the water. Boom, there you go.
Well, no, but let me ask y'all as an off question, right? But how many times has the defending champions of a sport had to play the champion of the sport the next season, right? And that was on their calendar. We gotta beat them. Right? Well, They didn't play in that was South Carolina's circle. We got UConn. UConn's more than likely going to make it to the Final Four. We got to get there too. We're going to face them and beat them, right? And then once they beat them, they were like, "Yes, we accomplished the goal." Oh crap! There's another game.
They got dog walked.
How many times have we seen that? College football, we've seen it. Basketball, we've seen it.
Super Bowl, I mean, like NFL, we've seen it.
Yeah.
NBA, we've seen it.
That was so bad. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. And Gino made it worse. Gino made it worse. Like, I'm gonna tell you.
What do you mean by that, Jeff?
Like, I get it. You're
You're
not used to your team losing. I mean, you won 54 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You expected this team to win a national championship. You're not used to losing by 14 to anybody. And you lose to the person who's probably taking your place as the next perennial powerhouse in college basketball. Because Gino's up there in age. He's not going to coach forever.
Gino was crying.
And you see, Dawn Staley she fist bumped everyone on the team. She shook Gino's hand before the game. The scorers tables and everything else like that. And for him to make a big deal about, I had to wait 3 minutes for her to shake my hand. And this is the first game that I've seen one of my players have their jersey ripped. Did he not know that his own player she ripped her own jersey? That's why it was ripped. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I don't think Gino did himself any favors for recruiting with the way that he ungraciously handled that situation. Look, if you're gonna be gracious in victory, you got to be gracious in defeat. Hold your hat to the team. You got a better coach. You guys coach better. You guys are better prepared. Your team executed better. And for him to behave like he did, to me, that was classic. That took away from the game. Instead of us talking about how well South Carolina played and how well they were coached, the first thing we talked about was Gino's petulant behavior.
I agree. And Jeff, don't we teach our kids to, no matter win or lose, be a good sport about it?
Yep.
So we hold the coaches to the same standard.
We should.
Right. And look, I'm a coach. No coach wants to lose. Okay. We I don't like dealing with refs like Jay, But regardless, somebody has to lose. It's a game, right? Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose.
Yep.
It's about what you gain after you lose, how you bounce back after the loss. It's not about how you carry yourself when winning, because anybody can carry themselves up properly winning, right? In public, at least. Yes. They played a good game. Yes, right? It's and behind closed doors, we beat them, they trash or whatever, right? But when you get beat, they had the better team today. They played the better game, even if they don't have the better team. They played a better game. You've got to. We teach our kids to do that, and that staple of him doing that. To me, if I was the NCAA commissioner, right, I would have set him. I would have fined him. Him.
Go ahead, Jay.
Mason, you're going down the checklist of good sportsmanship, be nice to others, smile at your opponent. You know what, guys like Gino and a lot of guys from the 80s and 90s, man, throw that out. I'm here to win ball games. That Maserati don't pay for itself.
Guess what?
You know what I'm saying?
But you got to win.
House on the hill don't pay for itself.
You got to win then.
Exactly. But guess what? He's not going to be being a good sport. It's in his fiber of his being. Every fiber of his being is about winning. And when he wins, it's allergic to him. It's an allergic reaction that makes him act like a little child.
I'm going to say this on long distance playbook. You ready, Jay?
Yes.
Gino better get ready to start losing.
Hmm?
I don't
I'm
think
gonna
so.
tell you, I think this move right here hurt his recruiting
It
because
did.
I'm gonna tell you, if
Oh,
if I have a daughter who's getting ready to go to college to play ball, and they're being recruited by Gino and Dawn, where am I sending them? From what I just saw right there,
whoever's going to pay you money and they have a wing establishment.
from what I saw right there, I know. So for me, and I had this conversation with my son's coach. The athletic part is one thing, but I'm looking at you to continue growing him to be the man that I want him to be. So guess what? I would send my daughter to Dawn all day before I'd send him to Gino.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from, and that's really nice. But let's keep it real. The society that we live in today, with overeager parents, they don't care just as long as their child is going to get whatever deal contract, they're going to win games, and they feel like this guy has won 50. He won 56 games and only lost one. Get 54, whatever. 50. They won 50 plus, and only lost one game.
Yep.
Championships galore. They're going to keep sending. I mean, just like Nick Saban. Nick Saban was crashing out too. Back in the whenever he would lose, he would crash out, but he would still get those players to come in because that reputation of how good Alabama was, they were still sending their kids to him because
But Nick Saban never crashed out on the other coach.
He crashed out on his own team, his coach.
Right. That's
okay.
Different.
His own team.
No. See, if I lose, I'm going to be respectful to the other team, but to my own team, oh no. When we get in the locker room, you sorry. I don't ever. Hey, that's different. But I not think, to the other team. I'm going to display that sportsmanship. But when I get behind closed doors, I'm lighting some people up.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick Saban has said some disparaging comments to other coaches and about, they're not doing it the right way. He basically sour grapes. He's had sour grapes, but I'll say this: one thing else about Gino.
Okay.
Gino is that coach from the Wildcats, the team that Wildcats beat. He's that coach.
Oh, hey, Wildcats! I got.
He's that coach that every 80s and 90s movie that used to, Tupac was in Above the Rim. They lose. What happens? He's that type of villain. They don't usually say anything because he keeps winning, but he's always been that type.
I know, but
you know what?
Again,
he's a sore loser.
There's some things that's bigger than ball, and for me, when I played, we won all the time. I took it for granted. And I got to the point where I hated to lose more than I loved to win. I expected to win. But when I lost, no, I was in a bad mood for a couple of days. I'm thinking about the game. I'm thinking about all the different things that I could have done better or we could have done better, etc. It takes me a couple of days to get over that. But I'm still going to show the right sportsmanship to the other team. Now, to my teammates, it's going to be different. That's a different conversation. But to the other team, hey, good game. In my head, I may be thinking, y'all just caught us on an off day. Wait till next time because we're going to wear you out.
But that's the opposite of how a lot of parents feel. A lot of parents feel as long as you treat our players with respect and you treat them great, we don't care how you treat everybody outside of this house.
But then they're not respecting the game.
But once you come into our house, then we're going to treat you the best out of any program in the country. We're going to give you everything, all the tools you need to succeed. And look at my portfolio of all these players that have gone to the league, gone to the WNBA and other leagues. But they've come through UConn. The proof is in the pudding.
The most watched female game of the season. And then it was probably the most talked about point of the female game all season. Like you can't do it and on that big of a stage and expect there's not going to be any blowback from it.
So, in your opinion,
Yep.
what did he? So, what was said? What did he say to Don Staley that disrespected her, or did he hit her? Did he push her? Did he slap her?
Oh, wait. Did he
Did he
stay
get in her
around
face?
after the game and shake their hands, or did he walk off down the tunnel beforehand?
Okay,
Huh?
so
I'm listening.
So he didn't hit her.
No.
He just walked off. He's sitting there talking about how at the beginning of the game you're supposed to have this customary handshake, and I had to wait 3 minutes to get mine. Well, at the end of the game, you're supposed to have a customary handshake between coaches and a thing. What did he do? He rolled off and walked off like a little.
He tucked tail and ran.
That's exactly what he did.
You're telling me
He's a hypocrite. I'm telling you, he's a hypocrite.
Everything that the Detroit Pistons and the Boston Celtics and the Lakers and all these other teams have done in the past where they don't shake hands, and no one really had an issue with it.
They did have.
They did have an issue with it.
They did have an issue with it.
No. The players did. Some of the players did, but not the media and not the fans. The fans didn't have an issue with that.
Yes, we did.
Correct.
I don't think so.
Yes, absolutely.
All I'm going to say is
it was just Jordan
when
had a
the
problem.
Celtics did it. Well, the Celtics probably got a pass when they did it to the Pistons because of the complexion of that team.
So the only time you don't.
But when the Pistons did it to the Bulls, they sure did. They killed the Pistons for that.
I said when the Celtics did it to the Pistons, no one had.
Because they're not going to go after Kevin McHale and Larry Bird like that. They're not going to. They never did. Let's be real. You talking about 80s media. Come on, man. Didn't you just post something on Facebook yesterday about 80s media, about the GM or the VP of the Dodgers?
Yes.
And what he said about black people not having the necessities on live TV, not having the necessities to be a manager or a head coach.
And Ted Koppel says, I don't understand why would you even say something like this. That's just
again. So you're referencing 80s media. 80s media was never going to go after the Celtics like that, but they had no problem going after the Pistons like that.
Mm-hmm. They crucified Detroit. Because I'll tell you right now, right? There's all these stories, right? There's only one story of Isaiah being left off the dream team and him saying it was Jordan, right? But there's multiple stories, including the people who orchestrated the dream team, that said Jordan had nothing to do with Isaiah staying off the team.
Oh,
it was everybody else.
Nah, that was Jordan.
You know,
they knew, and Jordan didn't want to come out and be the bad guy, but Jordan basically told his intermediaries.
He said, "I'm not playing." He said, "I'm not playing."
As if Isaiah shouldn't have been on that team.
No, he should have.
He should have, but that was just because of Jordan. That was the only thing he said. I'm not doing it. And then even him and Chuck Daly were good golfing buddies.
Yeah. But back to the UConn South Carolina game, right? It was South Carolina won, and he's got to learn to lose. One thing I did like is before the tournament started, we all collectively said, "All right, cool. Let's just put all the number ones in the Final Four," and all the number ones made the Final Four.
Hey,
so,
I told you every year it's chalk almost.
But who did I pick to go to the Final Four? Michigan. They didn't make it.
You picked Michigan on the women's?
Yeah, because they were the number 2 ranked. They were number 2 seed.
Okay. Yep, they were on the Texas side. I see it right now.
And I had them picked. I had them beating Texas, and they got mollywopped by Texas.
They got worked.
Was there a surprise on the women's? I mean, I know the number ones made the Final Four, right? But out of the rest of the games, were there any surprises that kind of stood out to you?
South Carolina and UConn, both of them, in their losses, They
Oh,
played terrible.
wait. Hold on. Wait.
But I'm saying
moments later.
So when we were talking about the men's, you were like, a surprise. A surprise is a good thing. I don't you see that as a loss. But now we're talking about the women, and now you're saying UConn and South Carolina is the surprise.
A few moments later.
All I
You
had to
clear-
do was give you 15 minutes.
You clarify the definition of what you're looking for surprise. I have to adapt to what the show tells me. This is the guideline. A surprise is this or that. It could be good or bad. So there you go. I can adapt. I can adjust.
I appreciate that.
To the long distance playbook guidelines. That's what we're here for. Get better, right?
Look, you know what?
absolutely.
The one thing I guess the game that surprised me the most was UConn versus Notre Dame, because Notre Dame has given UConn fits over the past couple seasons.
Okay. Yeah.
And their guard was scoring for fun. I forget her name, but she was lighting people up. So that's probably the game that surprised me, because UConn handled them by almost like 20 or something like that. That was the one game where I was like, because usually for the women's, it's higher seeds going to win. I thought, man, Notre Dame, UConn's probably like, that's not who we want in our bracket. They've given us problems before in the past, but they handled them pretty easily. So that was the bigger shock to me. Oh, and Duke's 3-pointer against LSU.
Okay.
That's I mean, as a kid, when you playing outside and you playing ball and there's no one there, you doing that 3, 2, 1, like you doing that all like for a half an hour straight. So for her to do that, that was a moment.
I like it. My biggest surprise was y'all's 2 home state, Virginia, because typically, like you said, Jeff, typically the higher seed wins in women's college basketball, right? Virginia was a play-in, and then they beat Georgia first.
Iowa.
Georgia, wasn't it?
That was Iowa.
No, Virginia played Georgia, and it went into overtime. 82-73, Virginia won. So they played Arizona State to get in.
Yep. I'm a different round.
Got you. But they and that's what I'm saying, right? Even Virginia, they beat Iowa. You know, they beat Georgia. They beat Arizona.
Iowa. Yep.
They beat Arizona State by 2, right? So you're thinking, man, you're barely getting into the bracket. You're really not. You're probably not going to get that far, right? And you get 2 rounds in. To me, that's a surprise, especially in the women's.
True, especially in the women's side. Yep.
Because I was second, and Virginia took them down.
Yep.
All right. We're going to move on real quick. So we've got multiple sports going on. Over there is a sport going on right now, has a major tournament. Okay. Currently, the Masters is being played in Augusta, Georgia. And gentlemen, if you haven't paid attention, I'm going to tell y'all, tune in, pay attention, right? Thursday was, I would say, a warm-up day, right, Jeff?
Yep. Warm-up day.
And then Friday, everybody else seemed to be warming up. And Rory seemed to look like he was warming up the first, 12, 13 holes?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, he took off.
Hold my beer. I'll tell you what. I mean, he took off on him.
Because there for a while, look, so it ended at 1:00, 1:30 here, and I kind of shut the TV off before he got hot. But he was, when I went to sleep, it was he was at -8, right? And Patrick Reed was at -6. Sam Burns had just finished. He was at -6. I was like, all right, cool. Looks like Rory's going to take this into Saturday with a little lead. Got it. We'll go ahead and go to sleep and wake up tomorrow. And tomorrow watch some golf, right? Oh, wait a minute. This ain't no little lead. He's up by 6 strokes.
Yeah. Took off on him. Took off
And
on him.
so that brings me, I mean, look, so facts real quick. There have only been 3 players to repeat at the Masters back to back. Do you know who they are, Jay or Jeff? No?
Tiger.
Nick
Tiger is
Faldo.
one. Nick Faldo is one.
Okay. And Nicholson, Jack. I'll say Jack.
Jack Nicklaus is the third. Absolutely. So Jack did it in 65 and 66. Nick Faldo did it in 89 and 90. And Tiger did it in 01 and 02.
I would have never gotten a Faldo. That was a good one.
Good
That was a
job,
good one.
Jay.
So Jeff, get this.
Okay.
Back at Parkside Middle School, against your Marsteller guys, we used to social studies. We used to have like this little Jeopardy game, and part of the questions was different current events, and that question was asked.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's great. Hey, I love it, right? Good job, Jay. I'd have never guessed that.
That was a good one. I'd have
was
never
wild.
gotten that one.
So there was a lot of people knocked out, obviously. They missed the cut, even some big ones. But there's a lot of big names still in there. And what do they call Saturday? Do you know?
Moving day. That's moving day. Saturday's moving
day.
day. Yes, sir.
Uh-oh. Well, so if Saturday is moving day, if you're at the bottom, you want to move up, obviously, right? But if you're at the top, you don't want to go down.
Right.
So does Shooter McGavin still have a shot?
Hey,
Sure.
wait,
Sure.
I got a question for you, Mace. How are VJ Singh and Fred Couples still playing?
So understand this, right? If you are a Masters champion, you get the invite to the Masters every year, regardless, as long as you're playing golf. So Tiger, right?
Daily.
After he recovers, right?
Daily.
Then Tiger can always come back to the Masters. Tiger could be 66 years old. And guess what? He can show up to the Masters.
Hold on. VJ Singh probably is.
Like there is no age limit to play at the Masters. You have to be able to walk the course. That is the requirements.
Yep.
Right? You can't use a golf cart. Any help is non-available. And then you have to pay your entry fee.
VJ 63, Fred Couples is 60.
I told you.
That's crazy.
You could be in your 60s and still play at the Masters.
That's fun.
Because you won. You earned that right. Right? Now understand, the Masters is the only golf course that does not hold the LPGA. The ladies are not allowed to play at the Masters.
Then why are we still doing this? Honestly.
What the
why are we?
Masters?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I don't.
So they only have the one golf tournament throughout the year.
Why don't they have the women's? Why don't they have the women's Masters?
So they're talking about doing something like that, right?
It's 2026. They should have done this a long time ago.
But look at this also, Jeff. Right? Even at the Masters, right? You are not allowed to have your cell phone as a spectator. Yes, 100%. The Masters is one of the oldest, and they still do things the old way, right?
Yeah, that's a problem in itself.
It is. They have scoreboards up on within the golf course and everything, right? Mm-hmm. And it's hand done. It's not digital. You got somebody in there. Hey, such and such, blah, 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 roger that. Bloop, bloop. Put up a score. Like, it's extremely old-fashioned, right? But that brings me to a question for us and my viewers. Will Rory hold the lead and win the Masters? So, if you think so, then by all means, please highlight it, and we'll be watching the poll as it goes along. Do y'all have any other talking points about the Masters right now?
Yeah. So I'm looking at some of the names that are in here. Sergio, I just saw him in here. Sergio Garcia is still playing, and he's actually young. But Justin Rose, man, look,
Yes,
the has-been that never was. He does not win. He's always there and thereabouts, but he doesn't win.
well, he hasn't won the Masters, right? But
That's-
he's won champion. He's won other tournaments,
but he hasn't
which
won a major.
gets him right, which gets him the invite to the Masters, right? So even though he's a little older, he's still up there, and he's still look. And that the thing that amazes me, right, is golf is a love and hate sport, right? We was talking about, me and a couple of guys was talking about this at work, right? Golf is one of those sports where you're competing against yourself.
Mhm.
You're not really competing against the other person, so to speak, right? Because they don't have a factor on your play, right? It's weather and the course, and it's all a mental internal thing, right? But that's what makes golf so great, right? Is you can do a bad shot and get so frustrated with the sport, and then you can go out there and you can get a near impossible shot, and people are like, "Yo, that was an amazing shot." You're not going to get that in other sports, you know. That's what separates golf.
Look, one of my favorite movies, Good Will Hunting. That movie makes me laugh all the time. So Brooks Koepka, like,
oh, Brooks Koepka, yeah, he's back in it.
Jason Day's still here.
Yeah,
but I don't see because he won last year.
right.
I don't see Rory falling apart and dropping a 6 like 6 strokes. I mean, that's a lot.
It is. It is. So this is the largest lead after the 30 first 36 holes ever at the Masters. I'm hoping he continues to build that lead.
Yep.
And gets to wear the green jacket again. I know some people are against it. They want to see it a little bit closer, right?
No, see, they're picking and choosing, because remember when Tiger was winning and he was so dominant, he's winning like by 18 strokes. Man, the crowd was all up and roaring, people watching because of the dominance. I'd love to see him. He shot 67, 65. Let him shoot 66, 66 and walk away from everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, and I was going to say, Patrick Reed, I think, might be his biggest competitor, because Patrick, he did okay Thursday, but then Friday he really kicked it up a notch, right?
3 under both days.
So, but he had a couple of bogeys. So, yeah. Scotty Scheffler, though, had a rough day yesterday. So, Scotty found the water twice on 2 different holes.
Yeah. Look. Oh, he's 74 yesterday. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, he had a bad day yesterday.
I mean, but like the 60s are out there for people to get it.
They are.
But I just don't see anyone hitting 65 and 6. Like, if Rory just goes par, well, I don't say par. Say he does 3 under par for the next 2 days. Like, I don't see people hitting, and like Patrick Reed would have to do 6 under par for the next. He'd have to hit 66, 66.
Well,
just to tie.
So, yes, I was going to say. So Rory, he can go par all day today, as long as he doesn't bogey a single hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he does, then he's got to get that birdie back. But he can go par the entire day and still be in the lead, unless somebody else has an amazing day.
Yep.
Okay. And that could happen. All right. It is Saturday, like we said. It's moving day. So it's supposed to be extremely. I think it's supposed to be extremely windy today in Augusta.
It's
Correct
67
me if I'm wrong.
degrees, wind gusts of 4 miles per hour right now, currently.
Okay, that's currently.
Currently,
I think
that's
it's
what I'm
supposed to.
saying.
I think it's
Later in the
supposed to be
day.
windy there,
Yep.
and that could affect the ball. And then Sunday, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. You're looking at it. It's supposed to be really hot, right? And look, when people don't, you think it's a joke, right? But when you're on the golf course and you don't have no shade,
Yeah. It's supposed to be. It's gonna. Oh yeah. It's supposed to be 74 today. It's supposed to be 87 tomorrow. So
Those
it's gonna
60,
get hot.
those 60-year-olds, VJ and Fred, how y'all gonna do?
Hey, nah, they already eliminated. They got cut already, so they're already
at the house
drinking
in the
their.
rocket chair.
That's right. They're already drinking their half and halves right now. So
Absolutely. All right.
I
Y'all
think
got
they come
anything
down
else on the golf?
there.
nah,
Huh?
I said I think they just come down there to see everybody.
absolutely,
Why not? Why not?
absolutely.
So, real quick,
Sign
this is outside lightning round, but John Daly, right?
Mhm.
So historically, he would have his RV parked right outside of Hooters in Augusta, right? Well,
Yeah.
Hooters no longer exists in Augusta. All right, it's torn down, it's shut down and torn down. So this year, he moved his RV to outside of Top Golf. Go figure,
Okay.
right? So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, please hang with us, and we'll be right back. We're going to take a quick commercial break and enjoy. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. All right, so we're going to pick up with a little bit of cricket. All right, because cricket has the ICC Men's T20 World Cup of 2026 currently going on. Now, I know cricket's not a big thing over there in the States. Maybe Northeast it is, but in the South it's not. But Jeff, you mentioned earlier that when you lived over here, how big it is over here in Europe.
Huge, huge. I just remember being over in England and they had a test on or something to that effect. Like, you're going to watch it. It's going to be on TV, and you're going to have to watch it. First, I'm looking at it. I'm like, what is this? What are they doing? How do you play? What's an out? Why are they running back? But you watch it enough, and you start understanding. It's kind of like snooker. That was another one that I learned while I was over there. Rugby and the difference between rugby and Australian rules rugby. Like, so, but cricket is cool. Like, the way really it's the way for me, the way the pitchers, the way they call them pitching or bowling. What do they call it when they're okay?
I think bowling.
Yeah, like how they can put the spin on the ball and what have you and get wickets. But I love I love the strategy part of it, because you can have someone up there who's getting a run here and a run there, but you may end up there's a time factor as well. So, like, you have to make the most of your time while you're actually batting, so that you can then get the necessary outs on the other side. So it was something that would come on, and when I first moved over there, there's 4 channels. You're gonna watch BBC, you're gonna watch EastEnders or something like that, and then it's cricket or something else. And it's like, well, it's a sport. I'm watching cricket. And back then, England were always good. South Africa was good. But India was really good back then when I used to watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look, to me, I've seen a lot of news about the Indian teams, right? And it's just amazing. There's a huge rivalry in cricket that people don't understand, right? Like Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Pakistan, all those countries, and then you got England involved, and then South Africa. It just hasn't. I don't think it's really evolved over there, and I would say the Americas, right? Because I don't think it's very relevant in South America, Central America, and really North America. Like I said, maybe in the Northeast.
So
that's you hear of cricket, rugby, and stuff, right? But other than that,
when I was over there, there's a guy named person over there was what's his name? Brian Larsa. He's a West Indies guy.
okay.
The West Indies.
Yeah, I have to.
It's gonna bug you.
Maybe it's Lara, Brian Lara. Yeah, he was a West Indians guy and he was huge when it came to cricket. So West Indies was big back then too.
Okay. And we've talked about this before, right? As far as cricket being one of the most one of the highest earning leagues in the world, which, if you realize how much viewership they haven't even touched yet, that is crazy. So, I mean, because like the NFL, they're hitting Central America now, South America, they're hitting Europe, right? The NFL spread. Cricket has not really spread that much. Why do you think that is, though?
Probably more of a regional sport. I think the United States probably feels, hey, we have enough sports over here, so we don't need an additional sport. It's kind of like rugby. If there was no American football, people would be all in rugby because it's essentially the same. There's a lot of elements of the same, minus the helmets and the pads. So I just don't think I think it competes probably too much with baseball.
Okay.
And like we have our major sports, football, baseball, basketball. We have our auxiliary sports with hockey and soccer. And then there's a bunch of other ones that fill in the blanks. There's only so much viewership that you're going to actually need for sports media. We're talking about golf right now for the Masters. It's another one. So I just don't know if there's enough desire from the masses to watch cricket over here, or rugby, or snooker, or sports like that.
Oh, okay. Jay, what you got? Look like you're
Well,
about to say something.
I just think that it's too close to baseball, and baseball's already kind of losing traction from where it wants to be. So you know how the three-headed monster, football, baseball, basketball, they have monopolies on a lot of stuff. They don't want to. They don't want to officially say they don't, but they do. And I think baseball would probably have an issue if they started like pushing, cricket or something like that. There's like, look, we'll give you cornhole. Hell, we'll even bring up some crazy pickleball. We'll give you pickleball. Let's learn that, but stay away from our baseball. So I think they kind of don't want it in the States.
I hear you. So we'll say this: keep an eye if you're a fan of cricket. Just know that it is currently going on, and tune in and watch it at your own will. Because the U.S. is a land of mixtures, so we have all nationalities who enjoy sports. Moving on, we can pick and choose, right? Jay, I'm gonna let you direct it, right? What do you want to talk about? Baseball, hockey, basketball, what? Where you want to go?
I would like to talk about basketball.
Okay,
I
let's
think
move
basketball
on
very, very
Well, it
interesting.
is.
then. Take it.
All right, so we kind of left out basketball college, but before we hit the NBA, can we talk about Tennessee? How they have no players? Is this the
Oh,
empty
the
gym?
women's team.
Oh,
Yeah.
the women's,
It's just
yeah.
the empty gym. Anybody can go in. Mason, you're a coach. What would you do to try to bring in at least one or two players to your team? What you got?
Well, first off, you're going to get some walk-ons, right? I mean, you're going to still recruit like you would normally, right? But now you've really opened it up to walk-ons. Um, it, Look, that's a sad situation. It really is, right? Because Tennessee didn't do bad this season. So it's not like they were a disappointment. They made the March Madness, right? Now, granted, they weren't number one seed, but they made the March Madness, okay? And after that, you got to make a play for it, right? It speaks more about the players than the organization or the coach, right? Now, if something's going on with the coach, then the coach needs to be removed for all because if I'm the athletic director, right, of Tennessee, I'm looking at this like something's wrong, right? Why did all these players all of a sudden jump ship? Okay, is it the coach? If so, then guess what? You're gone. And I wish the players would have stepped up and said something ahead of time. All right. If it's not the coach, then it speaks, like I said, it goes back to it speaks volume about the players, right? Maybe they're not as committed. And if I'm another school, maybe I don't want to bring them in. I don't know. So it could be a multitude of things, right? So I think the athletic director is definitely going to have his hands in the flower bed, shall I say, in order to bring in order to bring Tennessee back in prevalence. Jeff, what you got?
They were 16 and 14 this year, so they weren't really good this year, which is very different from a typical Tennessee team, especially during Pat Summit years.
Yeah, passing.
So they have definitely fallen off. All 5 freshmen on the team requested to be released. Incoming freshmen have requested to be released from their letter of intent. I think one has to go back to the coaching, because I have to imagine they have talent on their roster. You shouldn't have been 16 and 14, right? For me, that shows that you're going the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
But for all of them to leave, something there. There's something with the coach in order for all of them to leave, because some people are like, hey, you know what? If we are 16 and 14, I'm part of the problem. Guess what? I'm gonna do what's necessary to step up and right the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But if they all leave, man, it feels like there's something toxic there that just hasn't come out yet. Their coach got a daunting task to reinvigorate that culture, be able to recruit some talented players to get Tennessee back to being a year in, year out powerhouse, which is going to be difficult.
Right.
And her job could be at risk, to be honest with right now. I mean, the whole roster. To me, it feels like there's something toxic there that just hasn't come out yet. Because a team like a university like Tennessee should not have to be rebuilding their team from literally scratch.
Yes.
That's just, I don't think I've ever seen that from a major program before.
I don't think I've seen it from any program.
What's Pat Summitt thinking right now?
Wow.
Craziness.
Yep. Well, look, to me, the athletic director needs to talk to the NCAA about being able to talk to the players who all of a sudden resign and see if he can find out why, because some sort of investigation's got to happen. Because it doesn't say that they left for another university for money.
No, they just all jumped in the portal.
Yes. Which is crazy.
Crazy. I'm sure they didn't expect to be 16 and 14.
But like you said, Jeff, even if they're 16 and 14, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a lot of players, not all players, right? We got some people that'll jump ship no matter what, right? But not the entire team.
Not the entire team. I'm saying
because if the entire team jumps ship, you're the problem.
You the problem. Right. If everyone's pointing at you probably the common denominator.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm glad you brought that up, Jay.
And look, if you look at it, this past season they were 16 and 14.
Mm-hmm.
But before then, they were 24 and 10, 20 and 13, 25 and 12, 25 and 9. They're always consistently really good.
Right.
And they just fell apart this season. So, yeah, it's a bad one.
Yeah. What else you got for us, Jay?
So we have a Chapel Hill guy. We have a new guy that's the new head coach. Is this the right fit? Mr. Mike Malone. Mark Malone.
Mike Malone. Mike.
Son Malone. Carl. I don't know. What are you doing, Jeff? How's your coach doing out there? Is this a good fit? Are you happy with the move with Mike Malone?
You know what? I was trying to think of who they would bring in to really change the culture there. Because UNC should be spoken about in the same breath as Duke when it comes to basketball. And Duke, is always going to be there and thereabouts year in, year out. That hasn't changed since Coach K left. Can't say the same thing for UNC after Roy Williams left. And like just the level of the talent they have, they were really one player deep this past season. I think Mike Malone, I'm actually surprised. He shouldn't have been fired by Utah. He's a good coach. He's a very, very good coach.
I agree.
So I think from a coaching perspective, he's talented.
He wasn't coach for Utah. He was coach for Denver.
Yeah, Denver. I'm sorry. I meant Denver. My question is, can he adjust what he does to fit college game? Because the college game is a lot different than the NBA game, right? The skill set of the players is a lot different. But I think he brings the name recognition. I think he brings, hey, I know what it takes to get in the league, right? And I've coached some of the greatest. I've coached Hall of Famers, and I've won chips. And he's a no nonsense type person, which I think North Carolina needs. I think Hubert Davis is a nice guy, but hearing some of his press conferences, I was like, this guy, he's just confusing me. I don't even know what's going on. Mike Malone's not going to be like that. Mike Malone, hey, y'all gonna get on that line. He gonna run y'all to death. When y'all hear that, y'all gonna wake up with sweats and hear whistles in your head if y'all messing around, not doing what you're supposed to do. So I think he'll bring that level of accountability that UNC needs. I think that was a good hire. I think that's going to be a good hire.
Jeff, I agree. I think he's going to change the culture there. I think he's going to recruit a little different talent. And I'm glad that North Carolina made the announcement of who the coach was going to be sooner rather than later. That way, a lot of players didn't jump up and hit the portal transfer because they're waiting on who's the coach, right? Now we'll see who jumps to portal transfer trying to go to North Carolina, right?
Right.
So you got the flip flop side of it, right? Because people are like, oh, yeah, he was an NBA coach, absolutely. Look, I want to go play for him. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything evolves, and of course, he already knows who his rival is, and it's Duke.
Yep, that's it.
So there's no questions asked. He already knew what he knows what was expected of him before he took the job.
There you go.
And he felt like he's up to the challenge, and we'll see if he is. We'll see how everything unfolds. So, Jay?
Okay. What y'all think about the NBA? Y'all ready to jump into it?
Yep. But you want to start Eastern Conference, Western Conference, or team?
How about let's talk about Wemby being eligible because he qualified for enough games.
65 games.
65 games, but also somebody who's not going to be eligible.
Luka.
Joel Embiid.
My goodness gracious. I tell you what, boy. Well, did I send y'all that stat? Or we saw that stat where he had missed more games than he had played?
Yes.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable.
So should Philly still trust the process?
Absolutely not. But here's the problem, right? He's tied up with a lot of money. So Philly, look, when you're tied up with a player with a lot of money, you have to figure out
players.
Yeah, but I'm talking about him in particular. You know, you have to figure things out, right? You can't just nope. We're gonna cut him, and
they can't,
because if you cut him, what is he still owed?
Right? Here's what I'll tell you: between Embiid and Paul George, that's $106 million.
Jesus.
Embiid's salary is 55, and Paul George's is 51.
That's a lot.
And how many games have they played this season between the two of them?
Together?
No, period. I bet
period.
you.
Got you.
If I'm Tyrese Maxey, I'm like, man, this is some trash. I'm sitting here running my tail off to keep us in contention. And these dudes.
And don't Philadelphia have that rookie that came out and it was pretty good this year too for them?
Yeah.
It's just crazy that you would think that their staple, their linchpin, that's supposed to be getting them to a championship, But your best ability is availability.
Availability.
And you know
And your
what?
two highest paid players. Oh, wait. Paul George is back playing. Not really well, but he's back playing.
Yeah, he's played 36.
So, see, 36 out of 82. That's about right.
He was playing, but he was also complaining about there's too many games.
Well, I don't think there. I think it's a bunch of hogwash what these players are talking about. 82 games, 82 games, 82 games. Look, stop, please. Okay, 82 games is 82 games. You suit up and you play. Okay. Now, obviously, looking at certain players. Okay, if you want a long career, right? I.e., 20 seasons, 22 seasons, whatever, right? Then you don't play 82 games, which is fine, right? But don't go around saying that the game is different today than it was back then. Well, of course it is, right? But 82 games is still 82 games. You got to suit up and play.
Mason,
What?
can you forget the 20 games? Can you give me 8 to 9 seasons? Can you do that
Right.
Here's what I'm gonna say.
and show up for work?
On average, in LeBron James' career, he's averaged 79 games per season.
Mm-hmm.
I think
No.
79 games per season.
He shows up for work.
His
he
average.
shows up for work.
What I'm going to say about that is, for me,
Right.
I think you have to invest in taking care of your body. You have to invest in taking care of yourself. That's why they say LeBron spends anywhere from $1 to $2 million a year to take care of himself, which is why he can still perform at 41 years old, 23 years in the league.
Yes.
I think a lot of players have not done that, have not put the required time and effort into making sure that, hey, main thing's the main thing. I'm a ball player, first and foremost, and I'm going to take it seriously. And that's why I think they complain about it. Now, I just think that I don't really feel like 82 games. It is what it is. I'm trying to think, is the game different?
No, they used to run and gun in the early 80s too. Scores were 125 to 130.
No, I'm the scoring, absolutely. But were the games different? Like, people could score, but was there that much? Like, for instance, you may have like a bunch of one-on-one ball where the ball's thrown to Larry Bird in the corner. He's going to give you a jab fake and hit this three in your face. But everyone else is kind of just standing around.
Back then or back today?
No, I'm not talking about physicality. I'm talking about the amount of movement you have to do, the amount of running that you have to do.
Movement. The West used a lot more movement than the East did.
Because like, if I'm a primary defender on someone's best player, and like I got to chase someone like Steph Curry, man, 82 games may be a lot. If I got to chase Steph Curry every night.
But you ain't chasing Steph Curry 82 games, you know? So.
I mean, because you got to imagine all them picks that you're going to be running into and getting chipped and getting hit and bumped. And he's just going to keep running and running and running and running and running. But I don't know. I just don't know. Are the schedules different? Are there more back-to-backs?
No. I'll tell you this.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what they're complaining is. I don't know what the complaint is. If you want less games, cool, take less money. Because there's going to be less money to go around. I'm just saying.
I was gonna propose a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So unless you're legitimately injured, right, and you're just missing games, should you get paid for those games? Because you're based off a salary, right? And that salary is like, all right, you're gonna make 10 mil for the season, so to speak, right?
Yep.
So this is how much money you're gonna make per game.
Yep.
If you're not injured and you're just missing games, should you get paid?
Well, the team has to allow that.
I have a question for you. On most jobs, you have sick leave and you have annual leave.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't the basketball players be able to take annual leave during the season?
That's interesting.
Take during the season?
Annual
Because
leave,
guess what?
yes.
because I have to work 365 days of the
No,
year.
you
They
don't.
don't.
250 days, 252 days.
Not Jeff, not him.
Oh, 365. All right. I stand corrected.
I'm almost done, Jeff. Not quite.
Okay. Couple more months.
Well,
Yeah.
we're saying
But how many? But Jeff, how many days?
It's like 250, 252.
Okay, so 250, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're expecting these players to work 82 games, 82 days. Now, granted, there's practices and everything else, right?
There's
off season
practices,
and stuff, right?
there's practices, there's travel, right?
You-
If you play a
Don't-
game, if you play a game on the East Coast, you get finished with the game about 10. You get on the plane about 12:30. You land on the West Coast at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then you got walk around sometime early in the afternoon. And then you got a game later that night. Like there is some things that are where teams are going to sit there and say, hey, because of that, you know, but also
Mhm.
they all the players wear that thing, right? So they're capturing the amount of work and effort that you're putting in, right? They wear that thing around your chest where it's going to measure your heart rate and how many sprints and jumps and everything else that you're doing. They have people who are looking at that data and saying, okay, because of the load that he has had over this extended period of time, he either needs to sit out of practice or he needs to sit out a game because now he's in the red now. He's more prone to injury. But that should be the exception, not the rule. The only problem I have with teams sitting out or sitting players out is when the Spurs did it all the time, no one complained. No one said a word when the Spurs did it.
You can't say nobody. You can't say nobody.
Very few people had an
Okay.
issue when Duncan and Parker and Ginobili were doing it. But when it was LeBron James or someone else, all up in arms. And I'm like, well, wait a second. It's almost like they criticize LeBron for making a super team in Miami. Do people realize why he left Cleveland? Because he couldn't beat the team the Celtics had with Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Rajon Rondo. That was the original super team.
Well, and really on that super team, right? In a way, you have to eliminate Rondo, and here's why. Because
he was what?
No. Go ahead.
He was drafted.
He was drafted by Boston, right? Now Paul Pierce was too.
Yep.
But when Garnett and Ray Allen went to Boston, Rondo wasn't on the radar then.
Yeah, he was. Garnett even said it. He said, "Do not trade that African guy," because he didn't know his name. So he said, "Do not trade the African guy," because he knew that the dude could ball.
That's my point, right? So, but Rondo wasn't like known.
No.
You see what I'm saying? No. So he may have been there, but he wasn't known.
Okay,
they went there for Paul Pierce.
So take Rondo out of the equation. You still had Paul Pierce, who was drafted there, and you got Garnett and Allen traded that went there, got traded there. That was the original.
They had a big three.
Basically. That was the original big three.
They formed the big three.
Look, not gonna argue. That is a super team. Absolutely. So go ahead.
You brought the about Pop and San Antonio. The reason why they didn't do it, they didn't complain as much because San Antonio was really the only team to do it. Everybody else didn't do it. Gotcha. And it wasn't until 6 or 7 years after the fact that all these teams started jumping on the bandwagon and started now he's not playing, and that other person's not playing. For me, I think that they should, because every time that somebody says, they should play, and they're only saying it's only 82 games. And like Jeff was bringing up, there's more into it than that. It's a 9 to 10 month gauntlet for them and a gauntlet on the body. And because of the difference between back then and now, we have all this technology, we have all these trainers, and they're not letting players, you know, do their own thing. Their equipment, their everything is being pushed upon them to work harder, and they're putting more strain on their muscles than ever before because they want the leaner, they want the toughest, so they're pushing their bodies more. And what happens when you don't get enough sleep? Then okay, you're having them fly out, and it's mandatory. You fly out here, fly out there, and then you're gonna do charity work. Sometimes you have to do functions for the team. Just more into this than just 82 games of playing basketball. It's your body's going through a whole gauntlet of things, and there's a serious amount of mental pressure when you have to compete against the best athletes in the world in front of 15,000 screaming fans. So when your head's not right, then the body's going to falter, right? So
Yeah.
in the 80s, you can mess up on a Tuesday night and nobody sees it. They might read about it in the paper, but Sports Center and everybody else see you get posterized, and they play that on social media, and they clown you. And well, guess what? I was a little tired. I played back-to-back nights and da da da. So sometimes their ego gets into it. Like, you know what? My legs are getting kind of weak right now. I don't want to embarrass myself. And a lot of times it's about money. Okay, if I'm not at my best, then I might not be able to score 20 points tonight because my legs are whatever. So
Right.
if I know I can miss 2 games and then come back and score 28, it's going to keep my points up. They're going to say, well, he averaged 27 points for the season, but he played 50 games. But if he played 82 games, he might have scored 20 points or 21 because he didn't have the legs to hit that jump shot in the fourth quarter.
Gotcha. I mean, I understand that.
Well, it goes both ways though. There's times where players have bonuses on their contract, and the teams will sit there and purposely say, we're going to play you, but then they'll restrict their minutes at the end of the season, so their average drops, and then it'll get those bonuses. So that happens too.
Yeah, you're right. It does, and it shouldn't.
Well, I
It
mean,
should be about playing and winning.
It should be, but you see how many teams tank every year, and I guess I applaud the NBA for recognizing it. I'm not necessarily sure how they can avoid it, but I applaud them for at least recognizing it and understanding, hey, this is a bad look. Every year there's 16 teams, something like that are just tanking.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's a very good topic to have, conversation to have, and as fans, we want to see the best basketball possible, right?
Well, I got a question, basketball related.
go ahead.
Do the Lakers get out of the first round without Luka and what's his name's hurt too? AR.
Yes,
Austin Reeves.
Yeah, Austin Reeves too.
I think it depends on who they play and how healthy is the other team they're playing. I think that.
Well, now they've dropped to the 4th seed, which means they'd play Houston.
Yep.
Okay, so we know what do we know about Houston, and what do we know about Durant? What do we know about Durant? He might be able to play. He might not be able to play.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this: a Houston Rockets team without Durant, I think, could beat a Lakers team in a series without Luka and AR.
I agree, because Houston is completely healthy, and they got.
I'm saying even without Durant.
Oh well, they still have a bunch of young legs.
Yeah, exactly.
They got a bunch of young legs on that team, and you've had LeBron basically going to run the last 2 weeks of the season by himself. How much gas is he going to have in the tank? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
But to Jay's point, Jay said, when your mental goes off, when your mental goes wrong, you physically start to have issues. And I don't know if you guys have read all the issues that Luka was having personally. You know, going all the way back from being traded from Dallas without knowing anything like that was about to happen. The birth of his second child and the subsequent argument that took place where he had to leave the hospital and has not seen his two daughters since then. And the fact that the person that he was engaged to and they were together for 10 years, they're no longer together. So early in the season, he had an ankle, or he had not an ankle, it was a calf strain. And now it's full blown hamstring. I literally, to Jay's point, if you're not mentally right, your body will follow suit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna shift gears real quick. We have the NHL. Friday was their what is it? It was their 0 game Friday. That's what they called it on Friday. However, say again.
It's just strange.
Yeah, I know, right? However, the season concludes the 16th of April, which is this week. Okay. Keep a lookout for those teams trying to make that final push into the playoffs, right? And and also keep a lookout for the teams who rest those players who already, hey, we've been to playoffs. Let's not worry about it. You may get out there and stretch and loosen up or warm up for a little bit, right? And then we'll bring you off the ice and put some other players on there, right? Because we're already in the playoffs. So keep a lookout for that. And then get ready for the NHL playoffs.
Let's go Tampa Bay Lightning.
Whoa.
Hey, they get turned up over here over the Lightning.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Ever since Tom Brady left.
Say what?
Ever since Tom Brady left.
Actually, they weren't big on Tampa until Tampa started winning. And since they've started winning, Tampa's been consistent for the most part. So fans show out for Tampa.
Well, we talked about it last week, me and Jay did, Jeff, but you know, the two-time remaining defending champions are eliminated, the Florida Panthers. So it's one thing holds true. You will have a new winner this year in the NHL.
But it's usually always Tampa or Florida have won how many of the past 4 championships?
Probably 3 of the 4.
Thought it was something like that. Yeah, the Panthers won 24-25, and the Lightning won 20 and 21.
Yep. So
who said they can't play hockey in Florida? It's too hot.
Not inside the stadium, and it ain't.
That's right.
So, I mean, you may not be ice skating outside, but you can ice skate indoors.
They said we import our players. They're not from. They're not from Gainesville.
No, they're not.
All right, so we're gonna jump off to the segment real quick to the red card report with our boy Jeff. Take it away.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, to the red card report where we're going to these worth. So first, starting off, here are the teams that have qualified for the World Cup. And here are the brackets. Again, the thing, and I spoke to y'all a couple weeks back. The biggest shock to me is the nation that has past greats like Paulo Maldini, Roberto Baggio, Francisco Totti, Bond, Resi, Pirlo, Cannavaro, Del Piero. Italy has missed the World Cup for the 3rd consecutive time. That's 12 years. Growing up, Italy was that team just like Brazil and Germany and Argentina and Holland. You knew they were going to be in the World Cup. England, you knew they were going to be in the World Cup. They were top six team in the world year in, year out. And they have failed to qualify for the third consecutive year. I don't know where they go from here. I did see an interesting post the other day that Italy is one of the only teams that does not allow immigrants to develop into their academy. And I remember years ago when they had a player named Mario Balotelli, who was he was adopted by Italian parents, but I think he's from Ghana, black player, and they blamed everything on Balotelli, everything. But now, 12 years, and I'm like, who are they blaming now? It's not like they don't have talent. It's not like they don't have star names, but they have missed the tournament for 3 consecutive times. That's unheard of by anyone's estimation. So it's really, really interesting to me. I mean, the US has made the tournament, right? There's so many other teams that are not as world renowned as Italy. They've missed it. So they've been out of the World Cup for the past 12 years. Never in my life would I thought I would see anything like that. But neither here nor there. So yeah, looking forward to the World Cup this summer. The bracket's pretty straightforward. If group of death for me, Group I is going to be tough. Group L is probably the group of death. And this is going to be the last time at the World Cup that you're going to see some of the greats, the all-time greats in soccer history. The Cristiano Ronaldos, the Messis, some of the Croatian great players, Luka Modric. You're going to have some all-time great players basically bowing out from international soccer this summer at the World Cup. So definitely tune in and watch the games. And ticket prices are high, but if you get an opportunity, maybe once in a lifetime type scenario. All right, moving on. So we had our Champions League games start this past week. Real Madrid lost to Bayern Munich 1-2. For me, I think Bayern Munich's the better team, and that didn't surprise me that they beat Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid scored later in the game. And then the second game, Arsenal beat Sporting 1-0. But Arsenal had to score in like the 91st minute to win that game. So, and then moving on to Wednesday games, PSG beat Liverpool 2-0. No surprise there. And then the bigger surprise in the quarterfinals was Atletico Madrid beating Barcelona 2-0. Now, Barcelona had a player sent off for a red card, and they're all up in arms saying they were done unjust, which is rich coming from a team that has had favorable treatment, i.e. cheats, more than any other team that I can actually think of, except for maybe Juventus. They lost 2-0 at home. But now the return leg is going to be in Madrid. We'll see if they can overturn that deficit and advance. I wouldn't put it past them. I would not put it past them. All right. So there haven't been any games in the leagues for the past few weeks. I had an international break. Here are the games that are on deck for this weekend. So in the Premier League, you see the West Ham actually beat Wolves 4-0 on Friday. So the table's a little bit different. West Ham has jumped above Tottenham. So now Tottenham is in the relegation zone. Tottenham is a big team. They have a fantastic stadium. I think it's a 60,000 seater. They're one of the biggest teams in London. And for them to be in the relegation zone is unbelievable to me. It's absurd. I think they're on their fourth coach this year, fourth or fifth coach already. It'll be interesting to see if they can escape relegation. West Ham beating Wolves helped West Ham. That Spurs run in, It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Looking at some of the games from Saturday, Bournemouth beat Arsenal today. So if you see Man City plays Chelsea tomorrow, every Arsenal fan will now be a Chelsea fan, because if Man City wins tomorrow, they close within 6 games or 6 points. And then they have a game in hand. If they win that, they will close within 3 points. And then a few weeks later, Arsenal plays Man City. Arsenal's been up all season long. If they choke this away, I'll probably fly up to Virginia just to laugh in my brother's face, because they've been winning all season. If they choke this game away, so help me, I will lose it all. I mean, they lost to Bournemouth. You see where Bournemouth is. They're 13th in the table. I don't know what's going on. But hey, it'll be fun to watch whatever takes place. Elsewhere, Brighton's beating Burnley 2-0 right now. That game's about over. And Brentford and Everton are tied 2-2. And then I guess about a half an hour, Liverpool plays over in Italy. Again, Inter running away with this. Still comfortable lead. Napoli second, who, Napoli's always has a strong team. AC Milan's dropped down to third. As I said last time I was on, Como is a surprise team. Their coach, Cesc Fabregas, phenomenal coach, has done a phenomenal job this year. For them to be in 4th place over Juventus, if they can hold on there, and Juventus being one of the stalwarts, one of the perennial powerhouses in Serie A, it would be a huge upset. And then Roma beat Pisa on Friday, and then games are ongoing right now. Don't know what the scores are for Serie A. Moving on to Germany, or as I should call it, the Bayern Munich Invitational, because they're the only team that's going to win. Everybody knew it before the season even started, and that's going to remain the same. On Friday's game, I think Augsburg and Hoffenheim tied 2-2. Today, Heidenheim beat Union Berlin 3-1. Bayer Leverkusen beat Dortmund 1-0. Leipzig beat Borussia Mönchengladbach 1-0, and Eintracht Frankfurt beat Wolfsburg 2-1 so far. But again, everyone here is playing for different places. This is the Bayern Munich Invitational. The best team, really good coach, phenomenal talent, both old and young. Yeah. So more to watch to see who finishes 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and who gets relegated. But Bayern Munich will be on top of this like they normally. And then finally, in Spain, that's wrong. It shouldn't be Roma versus Pisa, but it was Real Madrid. Real Madrid tied someone yesterday, and I don't remember who it was, but that all but ends their chances of winning. They tied Girona, who's 13th in the table. That basically ends their chances of competing with Barcelona for the title. They've dropped too many games, dropped too many points. So I see Barcelona walking away with this one. Real Madrid making major changes, getting a quality head coach in, probably, in my opinion, Jurgen Klopp to come in and coach that team. So they're more competitive. I think they're going to go out and lose next weekend this coming up week to Bayern Munich again, and be eliminated from the Champions League, eliminated from basically being able to compete with Barcelona for the Spanish league. And a team like Real Madrid, that's unacceptable. So kids will fly. And then I'm going to keep foot stomping this. No to racism, respect the players, respect the game. And we'll just leave it at that. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.
Absolutely. And that was Jeff with the red card report. So we are almost at the end. Jay, you got any last comments before we go off air?
Yes, last comment.
What you got?
Wemby will win the MVP this year for the NBA.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. He's future of the league, man. He's future of the league. What is it that he can't do? Crossover step back threes, and I'm 7'5", gonna be 7'7" probably by the end of the season. I mean, you can't do anything with that.
No, who's going to argue that, right? All right, so we're going to stop our poll and we're going to call the show right there. Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. I hope everybody tunes in next week. Same channel. We will be here. Y'all have a good weekend. Thank you.